My grandpa, Jack Lazelle, was born in Danville, Illinois on August 2nd, 1939, to Sid and Helen Lazelle. Danville is a really small town that has a lot of factories. Danville was thriving with business, and the people there were content with their factory jobs. My grandpa remembers his life growing up pretty clearly. He was the fifth of 6 boys but had no sisters. They would play outside a lot in the summer and after school during the school months. He remembers that he and his brothers liked to listen to the radio when they were young. Their favorite programs to listen to included programs about cowboys, mysteries, and comedies. Since their family was very poor, he recalls both his mom and dad working most of his life while he was growing up. My grandpa proudly remembers that he also worked quite a bit as a child. When he was in grade school and middle school, he was a paper boy. His job as a paper boy was to ride around on his bike in their small town and deliver the newspapers to his neighbors and friends. During high school, my grandpa worked at Steak and Shake, which he really enjoyed. My grandpa remembers when his family got their first TV. He was 15 years old. He and his brothers enjoyed the shows Keystone Cops, Lone Ranger, and $64,000 Question. My grandpa likes to tell the story of when he got his tattoo. He was 16 and he was with some of his friends. They were drinking beers and gave themselves tattoos. My grandpa's tattoo is his initials in his arm. He learned from this experience and likes to share it with others so they won't make the same mistake that he did. He did have good memories from when he was 16 though. His first car. This car was a 47 Plymouth. He remembers that this car didn't have a starter and they would have to push it to get it to start. My grandpa really enjoyed his high school years. He participated in track by doing the pole vault and the high jump. He didn't finish high school though. He left high school to join the Army in 1957 when he was just 17 years old. My grandpa had a passion and dedication for our country, and he would do anything to serve in the Army, even lie about his age. My grandpa was in the Army during the time they called the peacetime. This meant that there was not fighting going on while he was stationed in Germany for 3 years. While he was overseas, a man helped him learn all of the things he missed out on since he had left high school early. My grandpa often talks about his best friend who was in the Navy. His name was Kenny Hall. Kenny was dating a lady named Judy. When my grandpa and his longtime friend Kenny went back to their small town in Illinois, Kenny proudly introduced my grandpa to Judy's sister, Patricia. My grandpa recalls his first words to Patricia and Judy. He said, "So which one's mine?" He hadn't met either of them before. Patricia didn't find this funny and really didn't like my grandpa at first, because she thought he was rude. But he soon won her over, and they got married on October 5th of 1963. They have been happily married for what will be 50 years this October. Shortly after they got married, they bought property and built a house with the help of my grandpa's friends. My grandpa remembers that the total amount they spent after renovations and building was $20,000. They soon had my Aunt Marla, and a few years after that, my dad. When my grandpa was just 26 years old, his oldest brother passed away. He heard the gospel at his funeral and became a Christian the very next week. This experience was sad for my grandpa, but he's glad it happened to him because he gave his life to Christ and is a better man today because of it. My grandparents stayed in their small town of Danville, Illinois, and raised their 2 kids. Both my aunt and my dad eventually grew up and moved out of their house, but my grandparents still live in that same house that they've been in for 49 years. My grandpa has taught me a lot over the years about what it means to be a family, how to take care of each other, and to love each other. He is always there for me and everyone else in our family. I really look up to him because he is a role model. He's such an influence on me and everyone else in our family and everyone that knows him. He's such a great guy and he truly is an inspiration. Thank you for watching my presentation. I hope you learned a little bit about my grandpa.